Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is currently trading right underneath this significant level of resistance, while the price of Bitcoin is building up closer towards a major breakout beyond $100,000, while in the short term, Bitcoin is currently forming a new pattern that we need to pay attention to, while the Bitcoin dominance is on the edge of a major break to the downside, causing a potential altcoin season coming very, very soon. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is still looking bullish on the larger time frames, playing out this bull market signal with a breakout here in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we're still seeing this bullish signal play out in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And on top of that, if we're taking a look at the 4-day time frame, at least for now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish market. So on all of these larger time frames here, things are still looking very bullish. We're currently within a larger bull market, despite what happens in the short term. Of course, we can see little short-term pullbacks along the way during a larger bull market. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we still have this 1618 Fibonacci extension, which is sitting at around $102,000 per Bitcoin. So obviously right now the price of Bitcoin is sitting just underneath that major point of resistance, which is really an area in between around 100,000 to 102,000, because we also have a lot of resistance right around that 100K level, considering it's a strong psychological level of resistance because so many people are focusing on $100,000 per Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind. We still have strong resistance around that area on the chart, but once we can see a strong confirmed breakout beyond 102,000, then in that case, we're likely heading up towards around 113,000 as the next major Fibonacci extension here on the 3-day time frame. But right now on this 3-day Bitcoin chart, some good news is that over the last 1 day, we've just seen a 3-day candle close back above this Fibonacci extension, which was sitting at around 94 to 95,000 approximately. So at least as of right now, here in the short term, the Bitcoin price has officially reclaimed this level after temporarily dropping below that level, which is some good news here in the short term. And so ultimately, we just need to pay attention to that 100K level approximately as major resistance. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour time frame, we can see the price of Bitcoin is building up, getting closer towards that huge breakout towards the upside, as we are continuing to form higher lows on the 12-hour time frame, while we're still finding strong resistance at around 100,000 give or take, and just underneath 100,000 as we could see. And as I've mentioned quite a lot recently here on the channel, the current price of Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame is extremely similar to the price structure and the price of Bitcoin that we saw back around 4 years ago, around November entering into December 2020. Because back then, around 4 years ago, the Bitcoin price was within a larger bull market, but as the price of Bitcoin was coming up towards this strong psychological level of resistance of $20,000 per Bitcoin, which back then everyone was focusing on $20,000 per Bitcoin as major resistance. As the price came up towards that level, as we could see, we saw a lot of struggle around that level and just underneath that level for actually a couple of weeks here, before ultimately we saw a breakout later on. And obviously, once we actually saw that breakout, the price of Bitcoin exploded towards the upside. But before we finally saw that breakout, like I just said, we saw a couple of weeks of struggle and a bearish divergence played out on the 12-hour time frame, which is exactly what is happening right now in the current day price action. A bearish divergence active on the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, and the price struggling just underneath $100,000 as a major psychological level of resistance. But what we saw back then, around 4 years ago, even though the price struggled quite a lot underneath $20,000 per Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin here on the 12-hour time frame continued to form higher lows. So basically, the demand was keeping up with all of these sellers right here. There was a lot of sellers just around that 20K level, but we were continuing to see a lot of buying happening, pushing the price higher and higher, eventually squeezing the price up towards that major resistance, and then eventually we broke. And if we're looking at the price structure in the current day price action here that's happening right now, we're seeing very similar price structure. We're continuing to see a lot of buying happening. There's a lot of demand in the market right now, considering the higher low price structure, pushing the price and squeezing the price up towards this major point of resistance. And then eventually, if this demand keeps up, that will force a breakout at some point sometime soon, potentially over the next 1 or 2 weeks, as a likely scenario if history is any indication. And so in order to be prepared to get set up, ready to go to take this next major trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take these Bitcoin trades. And personally, I take most of my trades over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a 500 USDT position airdrop. So basically a free $500 trade as your first trade over on Bybit, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there's also Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex, which means if you're in the US or the UK, for example, or another country where you might not be able to access Bybit, you can access Bitfinex. So I'll also leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link to make your account, you can get up to a 5.5k deposit bonus. And only if you use that link, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever. But that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bitfinex account. So as another option out there other than Bybit, one that you can access from the US once again, there's Bitfinex. Links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But with that being said, taking a look at this Bitcoin chart, which is on the 4-hour time frame, and right now the price of Bitcoin is potentially forming a new inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish pattern if we can actually confirm a breakout above this horizontal line of resistance. And this horizontal line of resistance, by the way, also known as the neckline for this pattern, is sitting at approximately 98,500. And unlike a previous inverse head and shoulders pattern that I drew here in the short term based on a neckline like this, for example, obviously back then we had different size shoulders, so it wasn't really a perfect pattern, but this right here is a much better inverse head and shoulders pattern with similar sized shoulders, so it's closer towards a textbook inverse head and shoulders pattern. But I want to make it clear that this pattern only confirms and only comes into play once we actually see a confirmed breakout above the neckline, so we still need to wait to see candle closes above this neckline, above 98,500. And remember, even if that happens, we cannot ignore resistance. We still have a lot of resistance at approximately $100,000, so keep that in mind as well. But if we can see that confirmed breakout above the neckline, then that technically sets up a price target based on this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And that price target is sitting at approximately 105.8k, so just underneath $106,000 per Bitcoin. And from the point of the breakout right here to that price target, that's around a 7% move towards the upside with no leverage, or just for example, with a 10x leverage long position, that will be around a 70% profit. And so that could potentially be another trading opportunity that we could take here in the short term. But once again, I want to make it clear that that price target right there only comes into play once we first see a confirmed breakout above this neckline. So I would not be taking the trade right now. I'd first wait for a breakout. And ideally, I'd like to see a breakout above 100,000 as well. Because once again, even if we break out above 98,500, we could also likely find a lot of resistance at around 100,000. So we ideally need to see that breakout above 100k before we can flip much more bullish again here in the short term. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we have a lot of liquidity building up at pretty much right at $100,000 per Bitcoin, which means a lot of shorts will get wiped out of the market. They will basically get liquidated once the price of Bitcoin eventually breaks out above 100k. So that would likely cause a short squeeze, pushing the price much, much higher, kind of like what we saw 4 years ago when we broke out above 20,000. That will likely happen here as well. But once we actually first confirm the breakout above 100,000, only then will that next short squeeze officially start. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, in case you're new to this basically shows Bitcoin's market share. So right now, as of recording this video, it's sitting at approximately 57%. So out of the total crypto market, around 57% of the market cap belongs to Bitcoin. And so in other words, when this Bitcoin dominance is increasing, Bitcoin is gaining market share. So Bitcoin is outperforming a lot of the altcoins. But when this chart right here, when the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, that means Bitcoin is losing market share, which doesn't necessarily mean the Bitcoin price is going down. It just means Bitcoin's losing market share. So the altcoins are having much bigger gains than Bitcoin, also known as an altcoin season. Anytime where this chart is dropping, once again, that is known as an altcoin season. And with this Bitcoin dominance chart being on the weekly time frame, this goes all the way back towards near the beginning of 2023. And obviously, ever since then, we can see the Bitcoin dominance has been on a very strong and consistent bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs, which is also known as a Bitcoin season. During this time period over the last few years, Bitcoin has been outperforming the majority of altcoins. But that could potentially be about to change, as I discussed in my last major prediction video, which I talked about in my last video just yesterday. So if you missed that video, definitely check it out. But as we can see on this weekly Bitcoin dominance chart, right now we're coming into contact with this upwards trend line of support, this upward sloping line of support, and that's sitting at approximately 57% dominance. So very close to where the current dominance is currently trading. And so obviously, if we see a breakdown, especially with a weekly candle close in the Bitcoin dominance below this line of support right here, that would be the first major signal pointing towards the beginning of the next significant altcoin season. Not just a little pullback like this, where we see a minor outperformance in the altcoins over Bitcoin, because obviously over the last 2 weeks right here, the last 2 weekly candles, we have seen a bit of a short-term drop in the Bitcoin dominance, meaning a lot of altcoins have done really well over the last couple of weeks, as most of you have noticed. But this is just a minor drop, just a tiny little pullback in the Bitcoin dominance. And you can already see how the altcoins have done over the last few weeks with just this tiny little drop in the Bitcoin dominance. So if we get a larger breakdown here in the Bitcoin dominance, once again, that isn't necessarily bad for the Bitcoin price. The Bitcoin price can still go up even if the Bitcoin dominance is dropping. It just means the altcoins are having massive, massive gains. And so, of course, I'll keep you up to date on what's happening here in the Bitcoin dominance in these videos on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And also coming soon after this video, I will upload another altcoin video talking about altcoins as always. And also, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.